Maybe. One comes up, one goes down. Who got back and who is not going to be with them for the foreseeable future? A lot of changes today in Chiefs Kingdom, but it all comes down to this. No matter who's on the field, they got to pick it up. And it's got to start with the quarterback and the tight end, your Hall of Famers, especially when I have an echo going on in the room because it's a lot of fun. Welcome to RGR Football. This is Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is us going live on RGR, and I'm going to take care of that. How are you, Dan?
Oh, I'm doing good, guys. It's a Monday. I got the tape early today, so I was able to get through all of it. At least on the offensive side, we'll watch the defense at some point this week. But I've got my topic done for my Wednesday video, which we're going to record tomorrow. So, tomorrow's my daughter's birthday. We got to get that done. I got to get my video done out of the way so that the rest of the day it's just focusing on her. So I'm doing good.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that, and happy birthday to the little one. I will be on the road here later this week, so we'll have content for you as always. Friday, we will have our normal live stream. So for those of you that have not been with us on a Friday before, we're going to give you the magic of what has to happen to get a W, what has to happen to fix the problems that are going on. We're going to give you the underdog fantasy look about what we're betting on daily fantasy sports that particular week. You can get into Underdog Fantasy by going to underdogfantasy.com and using our code RGR. You'll get a $100 deposit match right now if you want to check that out. We had a pretty good couple of weeks. We fell just a smidge short yesterday if you missed our post-game show last night. Still smart.
I'm still hurt.
That one.
I'm still hurt.
Just one play would have done it. You guys are certainly hitting on it. We have a ton of questions lined up, and this is your show. You guys are running this by entering the questions. Super chats get preference, and every single one will get an answer tonight. And we'll answer all the other topics, not necessarily every single question, but if you want yours in there, go ahead and throw that in there now. Either hit the super chat or throw a question mark at the beginning of your question, and we were going to get to it all because the big news of the day obviously came late in Skymore being sent down to IR. We're going to talk probably in depth about what that actually means, but the bottom line is that he will be unavailable for 4 games. Still able, I believe, to be reactivated for the postseason stretch off of IR. That will be a window as well. We'll see if that comes to pass or if this magical injury that I didn't see anything get sustained over the weekend is going to prove to be a learning time, a tempering time for him to get back on his feet. Hasn't had the best season. But this was right about the time when it was starting to kick in for him, and obviously had a good postseason. Scored in the Super Bowl, a whole 9 yards, right? Plenty there to choose from. So let's hope that it's something that can springboard him. In the meantime, Justin Ross added to the 53. He is back now. He's eligible to practice. He's eligible to play. I'm sure you guys have a few questions about him as well. We're going to get to the reality about what he brings to the table here and just what his role might look like. Andy was pretty specific on both he and Kadarius Toney today. He's doubling down on Kadarius Toney getting looks, work out through that. Was very hush-hush on Justin Ross and his role as it will be played out. So we're going to get to all of that and more tonight. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you sub to the channel and make sure that you click the button so you know when we go live, because we do that on Sunday postgame. We do Monday Q&A, which you're here for right now. We do Fridays for the game plan every week. And in between, you get some streams that are going to be Dan's film room, Seth's thoughts, Gary's stat takeaway, and every now and then you're going to get some extra from me as well. If you're a member, you get all that, plus you get Dan's rants in the member section. You get my notes. You get my rants as well. We're going to have some of that for you. My notes are just about ready to go. I'll have those up for you guys tomorrow. Click the membership join down button down below, Dan, and you'll get in the action. We're also toying with how we're going to do some streams for the playoffs. So those are going to be members only, and I think you guys are going to be ready to enjoy those. A couple of great points in here, and I do have you guys are hitting all my topics tonight. Dang, we're going to get this all covered. So, Dan, what's new with you? Anything we should address before we get into the static?
No, I don't think so. We got some questions to go into today. We got lots and lots, and you guys are firing them in. So I think we should just go ahead and get started.
Let's rock. Why don't you take us through the first few?
Well, first off, we'll start off with our super chat from More Nicotine Gum, which, I mean, If you're trying to quit, good for y'all. That's good for you. I can never advocate enough for that. So yeah, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. If you got a question in here, if you got something you want to ask, please don't be shy. We love the questions and we try to answer all the topics that we can. There's a lot of the same stuff in here. So we're going to get through a lot of as many of the same questions as we can with answering one. So Micah, right off the top, thank you for your question. What's up, guys? What's next for the wide receiver room after the Skymore news? We will revisit this throughout the show, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
But we are going to start off right now with Skymore. Andy Reid said that he came out of the game with swelling in his knee, and it's worse than they expected it to. So he's going on IR, most likely as a precaution, just in case anything worse were to happen. But obviously, it's all speculation because they'll never tell us what actually happened to his knee. So there's that. And with that, Justin Ross is now active, and the Chiefs sitting at 53 men on the roster. Specifically, what's next for the wide receiver room is Andy talked today about getting Richie James more involved. All for it. Specifically, he needs to be taking, and I know people are going to push back on, well, Skyy played a lot more on the outside. Richie James can do that. He can play there. He can do the exact same stuff that Skymore was doing. He can do all of those things. The difference is that Skymore's a better blocker than Richie James is. That's the only real difference here. So in terms of wide receiver output, playing him out there, playing him at the X, the Z, and the slot, Richie James can do all that. So it's not going to be a true one-for-one swap, but we should see more Richie James going forward.
Yeah, and Andy put it on himself. He's 2 snaps isn't enough. He's a good player. And for not having the right packages in there to get him on the field more. I do think that is going to be a focus going forward. And it should be. And, hi to Infos, hi to Scotty, hi to Brenda. A lot of our regulars are in here. Dirty, Scotty Province, everybody's in here. So nice to see you, Info. We appreciate you guys joining us. And here's the bottom line. It's going to be an evolution. They're still searching. They don't have an answer yet. They think they have an answer. But right now, it's Rashee and a question mark at this point. Avery might be able to decide faster than the Chiefs can. I don't know, but she'll give it a shot. At the bottom line is they got to find somebody who consistently put out. And it doesn't matter, like Dan said, whether it's inside, whether it's outside. Who got the second most snaps at wide receiver yesterday? Yeah, that was Justin Watson. So whether he's targeted or not might be a different story, but who's going to run those routes? Right now, it looks like it's going to be Watson as your 2. So MVS lower down, got less than Toney did. Toney will be in the mix. Andy is definitely not a guy that's going to walk away from Kadarius Toney because Andy reiterated today as well that he's a guy with talent. They got to get him the ball. He's got to catch the ball, yes. But that tells me, my interpretation of Andy Reid today is that, yeah, he's not doing a very good job catching the ball. We're going to work on that, but we ain't going away from him. He is not going anywhere, and they're going to double down. And I don't know if they're going to give him the Rashee treatment where they just force feed him directional targets. But I think things, in my opinion, and first, before I make this long-winded, what do you think? Do you think that they actually try more with Toney, or do they bench him? What's your feeling versus what you want?
No, my feeling is they're going to keep up with what they've been doing the last 2 weeks. My overall opinion is still that Kadarius Toney's presence and what he offers opens up the Chiefs' offense dramatically because of it's the idea, it's the talent. Execution has not been there very clearly, and I'm conflicted. I'm very conflicted about Kadarius Toney, and I say that all with understanding the talent is there, but we haven't seen the real production from this season. Last year, he came in and he was productive. He was a guy they could trust getting the ball. That's the big difference, and that's what we've seen drop off from last year to this year. MVS, Skymore, Kadarius Toney have all gone backwards in their trust level within the offense. That's where I'm at. That's just where I'm at, and I want Toney to be involved. At this point, I'm trying to figure out what way suits him best, because behind the line of scrimmage stuff wasn't working. We were like, use him as a traditional wide receiver. We've seen that. We've seen him drop the ball over the middle of the field multiple times this season, and 2 of them ended up, well, one was over to the right-hand side, ended up in the defender's hands. Whatever they need to do to fix the confidence in him, put him in front of a jugs machine every day, all day for the next 5 days. I don't care what you have to do. Figure it out. Because as much as the mistakes that he's made have hindered the Chiefs, and you can argue that two of his multiple times he's cost them in some way, shape, or form wins or losses. He is a talented player. The Chiefs understand the talent that he is, and they do still at this juncture this season actually need him to be impactful because they have nobody else. And that's the unfortunate situation that they found themselves in.
And feeding him, and I don't mean like 10 targets a game like Rice. I mean, like, you got to give him enough to get him in a rhythm. Because here's the issue. This is what stood out to me when I was reviewing the stats and rewatching the game, what little I've been able to do with that. This is it. This is 0-4 in the area that we actually like Kadarius Toney in, down the seams, attacking the middle. 0-4. The only completions he had were behind the line of scrimmage, and that's got to change. That's what has to change.
I agree.
I don't mind him running out of the running back position. I can live with that. Give a spark, okay, but you got to attack down the field with him too. It just isn't working the way they're hunting and pecking with it. So I think that you are absolutely right. And I think they do have to double down. The things that I have to see are pretty numerous, but the basics are you got to run them down the field. You got to make sure that you take all the option routes out. This can't be a read and decide scenario for Kadarius Toney anymore. I'm not saying that interception was caused by an option route where he either misread Mahomes or did something weird. I think that actually was something that was a bit of both. I do think it was a little bit behind him. I also think that he could have done something a little bit more, but take all the questions out of it. Run attacking routes, slants, posts, things that he does. The drag thing that Rashee Rice had to settle down and like get surprised to get a reception yesterday, right? Toney can do that as well. He can do that at the 12-yard level, not the 4-yard level as well. So let's get the things that are directional that you can hit. He doesn't have to think. You don't have to think. You know where he's going. Hit it and make it timing. That's what I want to see first and foremost. And then let's let off on some of the pressure situations, in my opinion. Where are you at?
Yeah. I don't even think yesterday was a pressure situation. They were up.
Fair.
And that's part of the problem. It's right now, I'll put this as plainly as I can. For Kadarius Toney, it's all in his head. It's all in his head. And that's as much of a problem as it is as there is a solution to that. Because if you bench him, there's no going back. There's no going back. You can't play him after you bench him. So, especially not for someone who's mentally as fragile right now in this state as he is from all the mistakes that have been made. And this is not just Kadarius Toney's fault. Like in terms of the mistakes, everybody. Travis Kelce dropped the ball in the end zone yesterday because he didn't want to get hit. It looked like he didn't want to get hit by Kyle Duggar. Yeah. It looked like it. So this is Rashee Rice fumbled the ball yesterday. Skymore fumbled the ball yesterday. They have more fun. They have a fumble problem too. There's a question coming up, and we're going to talk about that. But this is not just this year. The Chiefs fumble the ball maybe higher than any other team in the NFL over the last decade. They just do. So the team mentally is not engaged, and that's where we're at. It's not just Kadarius Toney. Yes, he's been the focal point because of the high-profile mistakes that he's made.
True.
But everybody is making mistakes. Patrick Mahomes yesterday made a few errors that are that I don't see a lot of. Even that ball that Kadarius Toney had thrown behind him. Patrick's just stepping up in the pocket. That should be on the money. But I know he's got a safety coming in over the middle, but you can't throw it behind him. He can't catch the ball there.
And he knows that.
I know. Like, yes, this was all about Kadarius Toney, but this is a systemic issue this season. It's everybody on the offense. So, simplify the attack. Allow them to just get their feet wet. If you have to go to them early in the game to get them comfortable, to get their confidence up, do it. Do it. I don't care. Right now, Rashee Rice, confidence. Maybe wait till the second half or to the second quarter and a little bit later. Get the younger guys involved that don't have that confidence level that Rashee has. Get Kadarius Toney mentally out of this funk if you can, because he's going to be on this team. And I know that there's a lot of people that want him cut, a lot of people want him benched. Andy Reid's going to use him. Since we know that now, let's try to establish the confidence level back. Because when he's playing confidently, like he did last year, impact player. But right now, there's no confidence.
It's not the same dude. I'm with you. MT, thank you. We appreciate the tip. And I hope you have a question.
Appreciate
later,
you.
But appreciate the support, pal. Nice to see you. Mike has got one. Night Haunter. I try to say Haunter. I say Hunter a lot. I apologize, Night. You're a good friend of the channel. Yeah, that's on me. So, Night, thank you. I appreciate you. I think you know that, but every now and then I say it right and then I catch myself. So, Haunter, you're the man. Do you like Hunter Henry and the Jags kick returner Agnew as chief free agents next year? Both are free agents. Henry, possibly. He's not as dynamic as I generally would like, but at this point, I don't think you can trust or even hope that Jody Fortson's going to make a roster and stay healthy. So that's out the window. Blake Bell just ain't working. I still have hope for Matt Bushman, but what little usage they're giving to Noah Gray, I don't think is enough. I'd rather see them pump up Noah Gray. And maybe you look at Henry as a backup as well. I can live with that. The whole Ertz thing, I think, is intriguing. I'm sure somebody has a question here about that. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen hints. You could look at that as well. Agnew, I think there's 1,000 dudes that can return punts on this team. I'm not sure that you have to go out and get him. Do you have a preference, Dan?
I mean, Agnew's fine, but again, we're talking about wasting a wide receiver roster spot, essentially, who's someone who's not going to play. You're going to be revamping the wide receiver room. Like, I think Braxton Berrios is a guy who can be a kick returner, but also be a positive in the passing game. A quick twitch guy who just kind of sits in zones and can get open. Hunter Henry, fine. He's fine. He's a good all-around player. I'm trying to get younger at the tight end position myself. I want to get athletic. I want to get strong. I want to get big. And I don't think Blake Bell, I don't think Jody Fortson, I don't even think Matt Bushman need to be back next year. I think they need to revamp the back end of their tight end room too. You got Travis Kelce, you got Noah Gray. It's time to inject talent back there, inject talent at the wide receivers. And this could be a year where we see the Chiefs only draft offensive players. They need running back depth. They need wide receiver depth. They need offensive line depth. They need tight end depth. This is a big year. This coming up here, this draft, we could see them take multiple wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, offensive linemen, legitimately top down. I would not shock me.
I think they're going to need either a corner or a defensive tackle. I don't think you can keep both. We're going to sure get to that. I think I saw some questions in here already. Thank you, Michael. Yeah. Thank you, Joe. When did he get hurt? I couldn't tell you. I'm guessing it was on his one target, but I'm not sure.
I have no, it wasn't. I saw the target. Like I said, I don't even know when he got hurt. I don't have a clue. There's no
knee swelling on the way.
Yeah, there's
on the way home.
There's nothing we've got there. Like nothing.
I tell you, those United seats, they'll bite you if you're not careful. Lee, if we do trade CJ, who do we re-sign? Snead, Bolton, Tranquil, O-line, or others? It's Snead and Creed. Bolton's a done deal, I'm sure. I don't think Bolton's going to break the bank either. I think Nick will want to be here. And I think Tranquil will still continue to be relatively cheap. I think you can get probably everyone but Snead is going to be somebody you can get done relatively well. The question is just Snead is playing at a level that, I don't know. There's a possibility that if you trade CJ, you might not be able to re-sign L'Jarius because he might get so much money.
He is an all-pro level cornerback right now. He's playing like an all-pro. That's the reality. And the Chiefs are having to deal with that reality with Chris Jones, who it doesn't feel like they're going to sign, but also they probably don't want to lose L'Jarius and Chris. Right. So they're going to be put in a very tough situation this offseason. They might end up having to overpay L'Jarius Snead almost as close to what Chris Jones was going to get. So we're talking about washing our hands of one player maybe, but also having to pay another one close to that kind of money because lockdown corners get paid. Lockdown corners get paid. Maybe teams see him as a Chiefs only system player. I don't know. I don't know if you're getting him for anything less than 18 right now.
That is bitter on the lips, my friend. I cannot deal with that. Like,
I can't either.
If it starts with a 3, I am not happy, folks.
It's not going to start with a 3. That's not, no.
Okay,
Chris,
I thought that's where you were going. Like,
no, I'm thinking you're not going to get him for anything less than 18 right now.
Okay.
Which is still
Chris wants 30, so you had me panicked.
Well, Chris is never getting 30. He's not getting 30.
No,
he's 30. He's 31 years old. He ain't getting 30, and he's not having the productive year that he wanted to have either. So,
if he does get it, it ain't from here. I'll tell you that, folks. Trey is in that mix too, and I do think that they can get Trey back fairly well. I know there was something that came out today about a Pro Bowl level play, but I don't know if he's there. So, Steve, thank you for this. That's awful kind of you. And shout out to my kid. She did a good job, and her team got rallied, and they did. They had a very productive first weekend out. So cheers to all you ladies 17 under. Let's see. What did that shock you?
No. That's all. I was going to say that wasn't to say that Chris Jones isn't playing well, because Chris Jones is playing very well still. He really is, guys. He's still playing at a high level.
Has slowed his.
It's a little bit different. Yeah.
Steve, if the Chiefs were to select 2 running backs in the upcoming draft, one high and one low, who might they select? Man, I'll tell you, running back is the least film work that I do, especially this time of year. I haven't looked.
The running back class is pretty bad.
Is it?
Pretty bad this year. At the top, you've got multiple players that decided to go back to school. People are really hyped on Braylon Allen. No. Braylon Allen can't pass protect. He's a one-cut vertical downhill running back that can't make guys miss and goes down early on contact. No thanks.
I'm like good. That. No,
I don't like that. I'm looking for. I like Blake Corum. He would be a good complement to what Isaiah Pacheco provides, but he's going to be probably on that day 2 track. I think he's going to be there. I can't wait to watch him at the Senior Bowl. I haven't seen a ton of the late round guys, and there's going to be tons of talented players everywhere. So just in terms of drafting a running back, I haven't gotten deep enough to see them. I really also like the testing for running backs. I like to see the tests, the numbers, speed, stuff like that, because I like Clyde. You guys know that I like Clyde, and I'm sure we'll talk about him tonight. There's also a pretty good chance right now that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a Chief in 2024. And that's a reality that the Chiefs are going to have to. He's going to be cheap. He's going to be cheap. He's going to be dirt cheap. He'll be cheaper than his rookie contract coming back to Kansas City. And that's something that will be discussed for sure this offseason.
Well, you tell me, because I haven't kept up on who's decided to go back, but I'll run down my options. You tell me if I'm an idiot and they've all decided to go back. But I like the way that he runs, but I don't think he fits the Chiefs offense, and that's Audric Estime from Notre Dame. I wouldn't even put him on the Chiefs board.
Yeah.
Is he in? Okay. I wouldn't put him on the Chiefs board anyway. Not their style of back at all, but I love the way he runs. Bucky Irving is at the top of my list for the Chiefs if he does come out. I think he has one more year of eligibility. Did he decide?
I think Oregon is playing a bowl game. I haven't seen if he's playing in the bowl game or not. I know Bo Nix is not going to, but I would imagine Bucky is declaring.
Okay. I hope so. I personally like Dylan Johnson from Washington. I personally still think that Trayvon Henderson might have something to offer. I know it wasn't like
pretty sure he's going back.
Oh, did he decide? Okay, cool. Good to keep an eye on him. There's the kid from Missouri whose name I always screw up, Cody Schrader, right?
Is that he's
okay. Let's see. Trey Benson from Florida. I thought he was decent. I keep hearing people talk about Milton from Georgia. I don't know that he should come out. If he does, I would take a look. But you guys are going to know where my heart lies. Late round UDFA. It's going to be Devin Neal from Lawrence. I'd like to see a Jay on this roster, and I think he's a guy that has some moxie to him, but he's not a burner. He doesn't give you that fifth gear that the Chiefs are looking for. They need somebody with Jamal speed. They need a track guy that if he hits the open, he can take it to the house. And I don't see a ton of that in this draft, man.
No, I get it. And like I said, that's why I'm looking for can't wait to get to the Senior Bowl. We'll see. I'll get to see some legitimate running backs there with speed. I'll get to see that and firsthand, and then the combine stuff, which you guys, I'm trying to get to this year. Okay. If I can get there, we're gonna make something happen. So we have lots of questions right now, guys. So we need to speed up a little bit. We're taking lots of time here. We got 25 minutes in and still got 40 questions. It's not just you, it's me too.
Son of a. Okay. Is it possible the Chiefs' struggles are a heavy dose of bad luck mixed with a lack of discipline? If so, maybe our luck gets better after such a bad stretch. What do you think? I hope more, nicotine. It is a lack of discipline as well, though. You need a lot of things to come together.
It's both. I don't disagree at all. They had a lot of bad luck this year, but they've also compounded their own issues, just with consistently making the same mistakes twice.
Lee, I heard the Chiefs scheduled of playing teams 10 days to 2 weeks of extra rest and prep hasn't helped over the 35 years tired of Arrowhead Invitational. What do you got?
I got nothing. I don't. I mean, that just that whole thing from Lee just says it all, right? It's never happened. It hasn't happened in 35 years, but it happened this year to the Chiefs. Maybe they are. Maybe they're tired. I don't know.
Could be. Steve, how is Cook's foot injury coming along? No update from Andy yet. I hope to have something on Wednesday when he actually should have the medical reports back. We'll let you know for sure on Friday when we have some info. What in the world can be done about the offensive line? 3 sacks of QB1 and 2.8 yards of carry by the RBs. Unacceptable. What do you got, Dan?
I mean, I don't think they match up very well against the Patriots' defensive line. Physical, powerful guys. This Chiefs offensive line is more of a finesse pass protection unit. It's not as much as we want to associate it with power in the run game with the interior. Outside of Joe, I think that the rest of them, and we're Joe and Creed, the rest of them are more finesse guys. And I'll tell you what, Christian Barmore is a dude. He worked over Trey Smith multiple times. He got Creed Humphrey a couple times too.
You see that when he got jacked 3 yards into the backfield? Woo. Woo.
The run where the only run they lost 3 yards on all night was because Christian Barmore took Creed Humphrey and said, "Hey, meet the running back," and there was nothing he could do about it. So that was not a great matchup for the Chiefs specifically in terms of the power. And also, Wanya has been very up and down. This past game, he's pretty bad in pass protection. He's pretty bad.
Thought he was good in the run game from what I saw. I haven't seen the 22 yet, but yeah, it's definitely tale of two aspects. I thought overall, though, he gave good effort, and given that front, Uche put him on his butt that one time. That was just
Uche was all over him. Wise got him a few times. I think he battled really good with Wise most of the night, but when it was him and Uche, he lost nearly every single time.
Yeah, it's just tough. Well, we'll hope that he continues to progress. I think that he will. Although our record isn't the best in the AFC, teams actually beating us, I feel only the Chiefs to beat the Chiefs. I agree with you. What do you think?
Yeah, this has been the Chiefs' season. If they get out of their own way, they should have put up 35-plus points against the Patriots. Should have been 35-plus. Like, they should have probably scored 40 on them with how they're moving the football, but they didn't.
Yeah. Oh, man, we got a ton. Okay, I got to go even faster. Can we not celebrate a young player going to IR? I'm pretty disappointed the fan base celebrating it. Skyy's a really good kid, and celebrating his IR status is disgusting. Yeah, I mean, disappointment is one thing, but yeah, I think the only reason people are really is because they don't think it's an actual injury. Cody is my guess, which I don't disagree with. But yeah, let's not celebrate somebody's season being put on hold. I do think he can come back though, and I think he likely will.
Yeah, I actually think he's hurt. I don't believe Andy Reid would do that to somebody in the middle of the season. That would be destroying his confidence for the rest of his career, probably. You don't want to. Honestly, Andy Reid would not destroy a player. I don't believe it.
Agreed. I wonder if his confidence is not already to that point where he needs a breather. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Quinn, I know I'm looking ahead, but I think Scary Terry in Washington for a 2 would be amazing. Brings leadership and accountability to the room in the top 10 receiver. Yeah, but there's a bunch of dudes, man. There's a bunch of dudes just like him. I mean, he's got great instincts and he knows how to work the route, but he's not bigger. He's not faster than half the dudes that are in this locker room. You know what I mean?
I disagree. He's faster than everybody except for MVS.
And McCole and Kadarius.
Well, I mean, McColl's hurt. He's faster than Kadarius in terms of like straight line speed, maybe not quicker. I think it's also been a few years since he's been drafted. Like we forget. He's not really that old, but I mean, they put Jacoby Brissett in. It's like, hey, he can play receiver. Like he just needed a quarterback to throw him the football. I'm a big scary Terry guy, and I think that he'd be fantastic for this offense as an X. It would allow Rice to be your Z receiver, but Chiefs aren't trading for him because there's going to be a new regime in Washington, and I think that they're going to want to still have him around. He's what, 27 years old? He's not old.
Yeah. He's somebody you can build around.
Yeah, still.
If you had to guess right now, can an offense be built around Rice, or does there need to be a pick sign trade to keep the O-line elite going forward post Kelce? Yes, and yes, I would say. Could Rice be an Amon-Ra level guy? I think Rice can be better than Amon-Ra.
Right now, he is being used like Amon-Ra St. Brown is. Like, that's what his role is right now. The difference is that Amon-Ra is not a downfield, can go get the football guy. He's done it a few times, but Rashee Rice, when let loose next year, I believe, is going to be a do-it-all receiver. Catch the ball down the field, get you yak, and also just win the ball. Be a ball winner for you. The Chiefs don't use it that much, but he can do all of that. And the fact that they haven't used it, it makes me hope that that's going to be in the future.
I hope so. I actually am going to pull that up here while you answer this one.
Yeah. All right, Seth, what's going on? Thank you for your question, man. What do you think the next wide receiver coach will be? Because I'm pretty sure there would be a change. So you probably weren't here last night when we talked about this. Actually, pretty good. There was somebody who brought up Steve Smith. Possibly if you can get him away from his cushy TV job and get him to stop running his mouth so much on TV to, come in here and talk to the receivers would be a good idea. I think Brian Hartline, if you could get him away from Ohio State, be like, hey, why don't you come back to the NFL? Because we could pay you more money than Ohio State can. And we would be, I'll tell you right now, if they could get Brian Hartline, these wide receivers would be better tomorrow. Actually, this next week, if they could get him up right now, they'd be better this next week because he is that good of a wide receiver coach.
He's just out there recruiting right now, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean,
and I also brought up the possibility of Jeremy Maclin, who's a high school head coach, I believe, or one of the coaches. So those are some of the guys that are floating around our head.
So I just want to highlight here Rashee versus Amon-Ra St. Brown, because if you look at the two guys that are leading their teams in yardage, that's them. And so here it is. I know Rashee had some drops. His reception percentage is drastically better than Amon-Ra's right now. His yards per reception is the same. They have the same touchdowns. The differences come in over here when you have A-Dot, where Rashee's only being targeted at less than 5 yards.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra actually has one more drop. I do think that
Rashee's got 8 drops on the year. This is not correct.
I don't know why they're being so nice to him. I agree with you. And here's the big difference. As Dan was saying, 24 contested catch opportunities for Amon-Ra.
Yeah.
4 for Rice. So I do think, and this is why I say that I think he can be the better player, maybe as soon as next year, but certainly the year after that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hope so, man. And right now, Patrick's kind of gun shy to throw into kind of coverage. He hasn't wanted to do it all year. When there's no separation, he doesn't want to throw the football, which is indicative of not trusting your players. As much as he says that he trusts the wide receivers, he does not trust them.
If Chiefs do double dip at wide receiver, I hope that after this year's headache, which 2 do you think they'll go for? And is it going back-to-back rounds, or will it be a first and a third kind of thing? If they go wide receiver, it should be in the first. If there's a tackle that they just have to have, it may drop to the second, but I think there'll be a top 64 pick for them.
Yeah, I think they're going to be double dipping on day 1 and day 2. Whether it's second round, third round, I think that they have to, honestly.
Okay, I can get down with that. We went over some of our favorites yesterday. I will tell you guys that are out of the first round for me that we like. I know that Franklin for you is probably your top guy that he'll probably sneak into the first.
Yeah.
Guys outside for me are going to be Malik Washington, Jalen Polk from Washington. I've talked a lot about him this season because I do think he's flying under Odunze so much that I don't think that he's getting the proper level of respect. Who else? I'm just looking down the list.
I like Jalen McMillan too. I like McMillan out of Washington too. I mean, he's hurt. But
right, he should go back because he only played 5 games. Like,
yeah,
he
I
could
think
be a
he
top.
might end up coming out, but he could be a possible first round draft pick next year.
Agreed.
It wouldn't
Agreed.
shock me. I think Worthy is another one we talked about as someone that the Chiefs could take, and he would add another explosive element to this offense. And he's a good route runner, a better route runner than people give him credit for.
I think McConkey's underrated right now. I think he could fit into a West Coast offense pretty easily.
He'd be a fantastic quick twitch guy. He's got some deep speed too. Yeah, he's fun. He'd be fun in this offense. I won't lie. He'd be fun.
My guy Skinner from KU should be eligible. I'm just saying. And we'll come up with some more names with you. Those are just the dudes off the top of my head as we've watched. But beyond 3rd round, I'd probably just be throwing stones in the river because I don't have a clue. Top 100 guys is all I got so far. Metal. Thanks though, Terry. I heard on a TV show that we should bench Toney. What do you guys think? We talked about that the last couple times out, and I think you run the risk of breaking him in terms of confidence if you do it.
Yeah, and you can't go back to him. Right. I think that's the difference here, is that it's gotten so bad in terms of his confidence and the way he's playing in his own head. If you bench him, you bench him for good. You don't bring him back the rest of the season because you're not going to be able to fix it.
Yeah, I do think there's a fragility there you got to worry about. Thundarius, hope you're feeling well, buddy. I can't wait for Christmas Day. Making a sign that says beat the Raiders like Guy beat cancer. Well done, bud. And I think you should be the glowing example and beat the Raiders too. End zone, 8th row on the aisle. Okay, we'll be watching for you, pal. Make sure you have the mane out and flowing. I would like to see it, please. It'll help us identify you too. Oregon. What are your thoughts on Troy Franklin from U of O? Of course, Oregon Fishing is going to ask you about Franklin. And could he and Rashee be game wreckers? I mean, yeah, why not, right?
I mean, possibly. Troy is going to deal with some differences in the NFL. He does not handle physicality. He doesn't handle physicality well at all. It's I don't want that. I don't like that. And it's not him getting better at it. He's thin, he's slight, and he's not strong. He does not have the will at the catch point to win football, to power through guys. I think he's a good route runner. He can be a better route runner. He also needs understanding in the zone aspect, but straight line speed, burner type player that would be explosive. I like him at the end of the first. That's the only way that Chiefs would be able to get him, because I probably have a 2nd round grade on him, but they'd have to take him in the 1st round to get him. He's not coming back around to you at the end of the 2nd or close to the end of the 2nd. So
I'll tell you, guy, that's going to be 3rd round. I think and that's the way it feels right now. That I could be in on the kid from Carolina. That got delayed because of eligibility and all that. No, the other guy. Walker.
Oh, North Carolina? Tez Walker. Tez Walker, I'm probably going to have a 3rd round grade on.
Okay.
I actually just got done watching him. This guy can't run routes.
No.
Doesn't know zone. He is go downfield, but I'm very iffy. Like this week, his week in Alabama is going to be huge for him, because I think that there's been talk about, he was better route runner at Kent State. Well, you went up a competition level. Maybe you were the same route player, but you have a little bit better corners protecting you. Like, he was very inconsistent against Clemson, and that was one of my big things. Like, I don't know, man. You're sitting here running like a box corner or a box end route where it's like, I'm gonna keep going, and I'm never gonna actually get out of my break ever.
Patrick, crazy even how we've been on a path for being number 1 seed. Disappointing year to say the least, but still loving our Chiefs. Appreciate you both for your content. Thank you, Patrick. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Following the format as well, because FLTV was reminding everybody, if you can throw a couple question marks, 3, it would be perfect in front of your question. It'll help us pick them out of the chat. We very much appreciate you guys. Hunter was asking if CH is having a breakout game and 13 personnel seemingly to be less effective this year, any chance that we see some 31 with Rice and Kelce? Interesting. What do you think?
I don't mind the idea. I don't know. 3 running backs on the field I don't know, man. You guys know that the gif of the girl who's sitting there thinking, she's like, oh, He's like, oh no. I'm like, no, huh? But maybe. Like, I don't know. It's like I got to think about it, and it's like I don't know. I'm not entirely sure I want 31 personnel out there. I'll be honest.
All right. I'll give it a shot. I'll try anything right now. Kyle, why is Casey fumbling so much? Is it related to the drop issue? Probably. Is it it seems to be the worst I've seen from them. You're right. Something has dramatically changed. And I don't have an explanation for it. Do you?
I really don't. Like I said, it feels like they've fumbled the football quite a bit over the last 3 or 4 years, and I can't tell you why. They do.
I'm not sure.
I got no answer.
We got a bunch of super chats stacked up. I'm going to get to one here, and then we're going to get right back to you, Jeremy. I will say that I'm enjoying the major adjustments coming in the second quarter rather than halftime lately. Fair point. And what would be driving the change from the norm? Immediacy and not having a offense that can bail you out. Got to get that done. Can't afford in this year to fall behind 14 points and be like, we'll make it up. This ain't Cleveland 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
Sucks.
Bit different, guys.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. We appreciate your support, though, buddy, and thanks for the super chat. Jeremy, thank you. On LOC, Chris mentioned the Chiefs missing Cook. Do you agree? And can you expand on how? I do agree with him, mostly based on and just being able to be in the right position. I don't think anything really illustrates Cook's ability more, Dan, than him being able to basically, Torador, like the bullfighter, right? When he has breakaways, he keeps them in front of him. He corrals dudes. He doesn't have to go try to make the tackle, risk missing it. He plays solid fundamental football and keeps stuff in front of him, and I think that's what they're missing.
Yeah, you have a couple guys back there that are more instinctual than I would say coverage-based. And when you have those, Justin Reed's fine. Justin Reed's a fine coverage player, but I think he's better coming downhill like he has been, kind of blitzing and tackling in the run game. He's not super comfortable on the back end. Edwards is instinctual. He's not like you said, he's not going to corral guys. And Shamari Connor, for all the talent that he has, is still learning. Learning. He's still very much learning. So, he's coming on, man. Shamari Connor's going to be fun, guys.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, he's going to be fun. But yeah, you're missing Brian Cook's natural feel for the field. He feels better than any safety the Chiefs have. He feels it all. Like he feels the field, and he knows where he's supposed to be and how to get there and how to make it so guys don't get away from him. That's the difference.
Yeah, I'm with you. He is for a guy who actually played in the Reed role in college. He's actually turning into a good single high free dude who can roam. I like it. If you guys want any of the gear, the full experience, get in Discord, join the memberships today. You'll get the extra streams we're going to do for the playoffs and the extra things. Plenty of that. My show notes will be up tomorrow, so guys, check that out. Thank you, FLDB. Kevin, will Ross get Skyy snaps and will Pat throw him some jump balls? I don't know about the jump balls, and I don't know about the snaps. I got to tell you, I'll be really interested to see. I think Justin Ross will get on the field. I just don't know if it's going to be more than like the 5 or 6 snaps that he was getting before he went out. We'll see.
Yeah, you have to have a plan in place for that, right? He's been out of the facility for a month, 2 months, so it's tough there.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. D-line needs work in the offseason, especially if Jones Dan will leave. A couple of questions. Any free agents you like? Which rounds are the best to draft a D-line target? And what was the logic of the Farrell trade? Do they not like Coburn? I'm happy to start, but you go first if you got it.
Well, there was in my opinion, no logic in the Farrell trade. Didn't make any sense to me, not even the slightest. And we're seeing right now, he's not a good player. He's not. And we said that when they traded for him. And Kendrick Coburn is now a Tennessee Titan. So no, they don't like Kendrick Coburn. They do not have any interest in him being on the roster. He's been in 3 different teams already. So yeah, they got nothing.
It's a waste.
Best defensive line, best. There's some good players here. Day 2 is going to be a good spot for them if that's where they find themselves to be in. I think they're going to go, wide receiver in the first round, but the Chiefs might end up having to wait, and that's the problem. Or they just take care of it in free agency.
If Chris goes, if they have to put the tag, they're going to tag and trade him. They're going to get him out before free agency. I guarantee that, because they have to have them room to maneuver. And there's one name that lights up my face when I think about him being in a Chiefs uniform because he's got a nasty edge and he'll be about half the cost of Chris Jones, whatever that is. And I just like the concept of stealing a player away from the Dolphins because Christian Wilkins in a Chiefs uniform makes me happy. So
I was thinking more Justin Metabike myself.
Yeah, hey, sure. I won't say no. He'll be even cheaper, probably.
I mean, not right now. He's got a half sack or more in 11 straight games. He's given himself a nice little paycheck, but he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, I like either of those guys. That's who I'd be looking for. Jeremy, do you think that Chamari Connor is our best coverage safety? No, not yet. And I mean being covered, not being nickel corner, because I think he can play the nickel corner. But in terms of having all that space to cover, I don't think he's there yet. I think Cook is still better. But I think he can get there. And I think Cook unlocks both Reed and Connor to do what they're best at. And so without him, that's why you're seeing a little bit of consternation. But I think he can get to that point. Do you?
Yeah, I think he can. And he's got a lot of experience too, much like the Jerry Steen had to play corner and safety at Virginia Tech. He played in multiple systems. He learned a lot. And now he's going to take a jump next year, like Brian Cook did. And honestly, I think he's of the Kendall Fuller mold. I think we're going to see him used like Kendall Fuller was used in the original Steve Spagnuolo defense. That's the kind of role I envision for Chamari Connor.
Yeah, he can be Kendall Fuller, but he's a better blitzer.
Yeah.
So
he's a better blitzer.
Yeah.
And he's a better run defender.
Fair. Yeah.
Wrapping up is not his strength. He's still trying to figure that out. He wants to do the Justin Reed and just hit you in the shoulder.
These things are for doing this. That's how you use those things. Yeah, they're called arms. Right. Jeremy, appreciate you. No, I'm excited for Chamari as well. Are you worried about the O-line going into the playoffs? Not particularly. I mean, they've dealt with the biggest, and they're going to have another run at Max Crosby this week. The biggest competition they have at edge rusher, they've been okay. Survivable is what I would call it. I liked what Patrick was doing this game. He stepped in and through the pocket more than I've seen him do in the last probably 6 or 8 games. And by trying not to escape to the side, but staying in the pocket, escaping vertically, I think is what he needs to do for him. And I think it allows him to have more vision, more time to try to connect with one of these dudes. So I like that. And I think the O-line can let them do that. If they're going to fail, I think they can fail around the edges and push edge rushers far and wide and give Patrick a chance.
That's what he's going to have to do. Pass rushers are learning to stay a little bit more disciplined in their in their rushing lanes, and not really letting him get out to the outside. And he's going to have to be more comfortable stepping up into the pocket and throwing. And he's shown that over the past, I think, 3 or 4 games. I would say he's gotten a little bit better each week.
Yeah. Gary, thank you, and appreciate you being one of our mods. Everybody give Gary a hand in the chat, will you? He's the man. Night Haunter, how are you, buddy? It was a good game, but I'm still worried that we should have scored because of bobbles and fumbled. Agree with you. And I think the other thing, it's not just the mistakes, it's the systemic mistakes. You had a 3 and out in the fourth quarter. You can't do that. You got to get over this crap. This is mediocre team football when you're having 3 and outs in the fourth quarter. That ain't okay. So I agree with you. It's definitely not what's going on. I'm not shook, but I can say I'm a little worried. Should I be more than that, Dan?
No, I don't think we should be more than enough for it. And again, I'm going to say this again for everybody that didn't listen last night or wasn't here last night. Get to the dance.
Yeah.
At this point, that's what this team needs to do. That's all they can do. And when they do get there, this comes down to a team that's experienced in the postseason and knows how to win postseason football. I don't think it matters where they play. I don't think it matters. I know they haven't had to. I don't think it matters personally.
Okay. Yeah. Let's cross our fingers. Is Toney to a point where the reward of him with the ball of the season is not worth the risk of keeping him off the bench? For us, maybe. For Andy, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Back to everything we said earlier.
Yeah, I'm still not there yet. And I guess I said yesterday I was a little bit crow, and I did. Throwing him the football yesterday, I guess, was a little bit too much work for him.
God
I feel
forbid.
bad for saying that. But I'm still of the opinion that he's going to make the offense better. I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know when, and I can't tell you guys when. All I can tell you is that the film showed that he was good 2 weeks ago against the Bills outside of what we saw lining up. Yesterday, he was not good. It was very bad. It was not good.
Yeah. Got to keep feeding the good. Feed the good.
Yeah.
Back shoulder throws and red zone targets for Ross in the next 3 games.
No.
I don't know that you trust him with a back shoulder throw where he's got to, I don't know.
Adjust.
Yeah, you throw it outside the hash marks, you let him drag his feet. If you're going to do that, that's where I'm throwing the ball. But I just don't have a feel because Andy's very coy about how much he's going to get on the field. Let's see what he gets for snaps, Oren, and we'll go from there. If he gets more than 10 snaps in this next game, then yeah, maybe we can start projecting some of that because that makes me feel like they're trying to get him into the flow of things.
I'm with you there. I like that.
Should Snead be more of a priority to re-sign than Chris Jones? Should he be the better prospect at the cost that he's going to be?
I can't answer this question.
I know, right?
I can't realistically answer this question. Chris Jones is the most impactful defensive player that the Chiefs have. That is a fact. The problem becomes the cost effectiveness of that at 31 years old. L'Jarius Sneed is still going to be a relatively cost effective player at a much younger age. But the argument is, does the system make him way better? And therefore, can you get replacement level cornerback play cheaper? I don't think so. Myself. Here's a tough question.
Chris Jones is better at his position than L'Jarius Sneed is at his. Let's be real. But it's also a fact that 2 years into whatever contract extension Chris Jones does, that is not going to be the case any longer. So while I agree with you, the difference is that a second contract for Snead, I see them having A, to pay it all out, and B, that he will be able to maintain his level of play much longer than Chris Jones is for dramatically more money. You might pay $60 million to both of them. You'll get 4 years out of it. You'll get 3 years out of it with L'Jarius Sneed. You'll get 2 with Chris. That's the difference. But there are very, very much less options to replace Chris Jones than there are, as Dan said, to replace L'Jarius Sneed.
I'm with you. All right, guys. We got 8 minutes ish left in this. We're gonna hit some super chats here. We got like 10 or 11 of them. So we'll come back around here on some questions if we can. But right now we're gonna jump to these because these people put their money in. They give their time. We'll definitely get their questions answered here. So thank you for your question, Diverse Media. The Chiefs appear to be using Toney like San Francisco uses Deebo Samuel. It's about focus for him. I don't disagree at all, and I think they should lean into it. Honestly, get him the ball a little bit more in the backfield.
Yeah, other than surviving contact, he could be Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, obviously, in the way that he moves his body and the way he takes contact, but lean into it a little bit more. I'm with you there, Diverse. I absolutely agree with that.
I do too.
Appreciate the support. Thank you very much. MT, what's going on? No question, just tip for good content. Yeah, so thank you again. We appreciate the super chat. We hit that one already.
I missed the star. Sorry.
That's all good. I really do appreciate it. Coming back to it again. Dez, what's going on, man? Curious. You guys think Leggett or that's not Brian Roberts, Brian Thomas would be good fits in KC? I also think KC should target Ridley in free agency. Thoughts? Yeah, I'm sure about Calvin Ridley. Sure, go ahead. I watched him play. He creates separation. The problem is that he's being used as DK Metcalf. Go downfield, go get the ball. That's not his best attribute. His best attribute is running routes and creating separation over the middle of the field. He can do that in Kansas City. So I'm all in. Leggett is a very interesting player. He's going to blow up the combine. He's going to blow it up. Be prepared. He's going to absolutely destroy it. He's a guy who played the quarterback in high school, transferred, played South Carolina, had a couple injuries. He's just now getting the wide receiver position, and he can move. He can move. Gotcha. He's a traits-based dart throw still on day 2 for me. but I think you can make that. You could get away with that and be a good player. What do you think about Brian Thomas out of LSU?
I have not paid much attention to him. When I'm watching, I end up watching Neighbors.
Yeah, I get that.
Honestly, let's be real. I end up watching the quarterback.
I was about to say, you like Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think there's more value in the twos in a lot of these situations. Ibuka, there's another guy that I didn't mention earlier. The twos,
he's going back.
Move the chain. Oh, is he? Okay, good. Then I didn't miss him. That was all by design, folks. But the twos bring the value in this draft in particular because the ones are so good. You have a very good caliber number 2 guy that just doesn't get the love. Thomas reminds me of that, but again, I haven't watched specifically for him much. I like what I saw. Where are you? You've done the work.
He's a fun player. I think he's got more talent than I originally expected. I thought he was more of a De'Ami Brown type player, but he's got more route running to him than I originally expected. I haven't done a deep dive on him yet, but I absolutely am getting there. So thank you for the thought process there, Des. We're going to be getting into a lot of wide receiver talk and a lot of draft talk here very, very soon. Oh, yeah. Chuck Norris, welcome in. Always great to have one of the greatest of all time in here supporting the channel. What defensive tackle prospects do you like? I haven't looked at defensive tackle prospects myself. I don't know about you.
I like the big dudes. No. There's a kid from Alabama that's decent. The kid that flip-flops between edge and DI at Louisville, I like. My favorite is probably not the big dude, not Sweat from Texas, but the other dude who's more nimble, Byron Murphy. He's probably my favorite right now, but another position that I haven't watched for effect for grading yet.
Very true.
Let me see. There's the kid from Illinois who's got a good reputation. I haven't seen any Illinois film or games live yet, so I've completely missed out on him. The other kid that does both DI and edge is from Oregon, Dorless. I do like what he does. He has some snap to him. He'd be like kind of a Menahu, like a light 3 tech that you might be able to move around a little bit.
Okay. We got 3 from Chuck Norris, all about defense tackle. So we're just going to go ahead and go in on. He's talking about Christian Wilkins, like you talked about, from Miami. What about Leonard Williams? Didn't he get traded to the Seahawks, correct, from the Giants? Sure. Or am I thinking of somebody else?
He got traded somewhere.
I think he got traded to the Seahawks. Okay. I'm looking at him right now on the TV. We're good. There's Leonard Williams on the TV. We're good. Yeah. So I think this was his last year of his contract. He's going to be much more than I think he's worth. He's going to cost much more than he's worth. I would have. We talked about Matabike earlier, and you did correct yourself with another super chat. So thank you very much for all of that. Those super chats, we do appreciate that, Chuck. Greatest of all time for a reason. But yeah, we do think somewhere in the Christian Wilkins or Justin Matabike, if you can get one of those guys in, if you're trading Chris Jones, those are some of the players we're definitely looking at. And again, thank you very much for the support.
Yes, thank you.
All right, brother Rick, nice to see you in here, man. What's your guys' take on Deshaun Jackson wanting to play for the Chiefs? What you got, Ryan?
Do they hand out Geritol in the locker room?
He can still run downfield. That's all you're asking him to do.
There's that, but dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I teased it that I could run a 2-yard dive. I can't. And Deshaun's a much better athlete than me, but I don't think I'm paying him to do it. Hey, come into a camp. Let me see you do it, and then I'll think about paying you.
Yeah, just come to the practice field. Let me see you run downfield without, breaking your hamstring. I think we'll be all right if we could do.
Oh man,
appreciate the support, brother Rick. If Andy Reid was serious and if Deshaun Jackson was serious, they would have been on the phone. There'd be some rumors about it, but since it was on talk show, I'm gonna go ahead and say it wasn't very serious.
Agreed.
Callie, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here today. What's up, fellas? Could Jarvis Landry help this team? This is at least the 5th time we've heard this over the last 5 weeks. The dire straits of the fan base with the wide receiver room. No.
I'm starting to think otherwise. He can get 8 yards and catch the damn ball. Right?
Could it
If
be
you
worse?
need a first down, Jarvis can get you that still. I am pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't disagree. You know what? I don't know, man.
That's how far
At
we've
this
sunk to this point.
At this point, what do I know? I want to see Corner Powell out there myself because he's, I think you could put him in the Jarvis Landry role a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
I'll try
Maybe
it. I'm
could it be
tripling
worse
down
than what we've seen? Could it be
Right.
worse? I don't think so.
Exactly.
Oh, thanks for making me feel more depressed about the wide receiver. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Appreciate you. Appreciate the support as always.
Thanks, buddy.
Jesus, what's going on, man? Thank you for the super chat. Juniors will be available at the Senior Bowl. They will be. We're going to get some updates from Jim Nagy in January about some of the juniors that are going to be there. I can't wait myself. There's some guys that I'm hopeful that end up there that we get to see firsthand. I'm going to be so excited. Appreciate you bringing that up, Jesus. Oh, making me excited.
My question is, are they going to expand the total rosters? Are we going to see the total roster grow? How much? Dan and I will both be there. We'll have reports for you. Don't you worry. I'll be doing it for Locked On as well as here. We'll have all kinds of stuff. And if you're not subscribed to NFL 33 yet, go. Because we're going to start hard and heavy in January on the draft class. You guys are going to want to see that. It is a paid subscription. It isn't much, but get in the action now so you're not striving for it later.
Absolutely. Doing exactly that. Content coming out the wazoo, guys. Nick, thank you for your super chat. Could we say that the fact that this wide receiver room is bad makes Rashee's development speed up out of necessity and could put him, it could be a plus for him in the long run? I tweeted this exact thing. Like, it's fantastic that his growth has done, like what he's done. He's earned his role. The 92% snap share he had yesterday, he's earned. But it's also been out of necessity. It was born out of the fact that the Chiefs have nobody they can trust. And Rashee's been like, hey, you guys aren't taking these reps and running with them? I will. I'll do it. I will do it. You guys aren't doing it. And yes, it absolutely could benefit him in the long run because he's doing stuff right now that maybe he wasn't expected to do. There's a clip I put up on Twitter earlier where he didn't even get the ball, but he settles into space. He sees the corners that are on the outside. He's on the left side of the field. There's corners up to his left, but he sees them vacate. So he runs his little stop route, and then he gets into the space on the left, and he's just there. He's like, there is nobody around me. Throw me the ball. I'm open.
Hello.
I'm here. Like, he did that multiple times in this game, finding space, sitting in it, identifying it as he's running his route. That's next year kind of stuff because he was just being asked to be a yards after the catch guy, but he's learning all of it now out of necessity, and it's paying dividends for the offense, I'll be honest.
Same thing that happened with Dwayne Bowe. If he was drafted 2 years ago or 3 years ago and Tyreek and D-Rob and Pringle are all still here, he doesn't get on the field right away. So it is born of necessity, but that's how you grow, and that's how you get off to a fast start in your career. So kudos to him. He's making the most of it.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Nick, for the super chat. Shay, thank you. Welcome in. Is Noah Fant a good, cheaper option free agent target next year? Fits features mold. Top pick who's underperformed. Yeah, absolutely does. He's going to be more of your wide tight end. He's not going to block very much. Be a more detached H-back type of player. But that's exactly the kind of player that Jody Fortson almost was. He wasn't the best blocker, but he learned better in Kansas City. And Noah Fant, they don't use him in Seattle. He can run. He can run. He's a good athlete. Absolutely. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. I have no problem with that. I thought that he was underutilized in Denver. He's been underutilized to this point. One thing he will not happen, should he become a Chief, is be underutilized. So I think there's still upside in him is my point. I think he can still grow into a better player. I think he's decent.
I don't disagree at all. Appreciate the question, Shay. Thank you for your super chat. Ryan, Carson's question here. Thank you for your super chat. Do you think Kansas City should go wide receiver or defensive tackle in the first round?
I cannot assume that Wanya Morris is the answer yet.
Oh, okay.
I just can't. I want to,
I
but I ain't there.
Can't.
So, Carson, I appreciate your question, but I think you left out an option. LT is still on there. I don't see the talent in this particular draft class at DT that makes me say they have to do that. There is a scarcity, but I don't think anybody's truly game-changing in this class at defensive tackle. There are a number of wide receivers that are, but it's also a very deep wide receiver class. So for me, it'll all be about balance and fit. And I think If you get one of the top interior pass rusher DTs, you might have to look at that. But all that is trumped by protecting Mahomes, in my opinion, and then the wide receiver. So DT would probably be my third option.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. I still think it's going to be a wide receiver myself. So I'll give you one there. But thank you for your question, Carson. And it's a good thought exercise because bringing up different positions, in the first round gives you something else to look at with the Chiefs possibly being in limbo next year without having Chris Jones. Maybe their plan wasn't to move, Amenahue inside. Who knows? Yeah. It's going to be a lot different. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. Last super chat of the evening. We have gone 5 minutes over the hour, guys. Appreciate all the super chats. Apologies for those of you that did not get your questions answered. If you ever need to reach out, you need your question asked, put them in the comments here on my videos, Seth's videos, any of them. Also reach out to me on Twitter, and I'll never stop calling it Twitter, at InHarmsWay19. You guys you message me, you can at me, do whatever you need to. I'll do what I can to answer your questions. So we will be ending tonight on Dr. Durden's question so that we can get you guys out, try to, get some more topics covered next week. Fans forget how KT played in the biggest game of them all. We'll need him down the line. Cutting him is crazy talk. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think everyone's forgotten how he played last year completely. I think that they've forgotten how he played all year last year. Outside of the injuries, he was an extremely impactful player when throwing the football. Made lots of athletic plays, dunking on guys. There's a lot of things that he's done, and I understand the frustration. I'm there. We are all there. We are frustrated. Patrick Mahomes is frustrated, and it's not just solely at Kadarius Toney. It's at everything that's happened this year. It's the fumbles, it's the drops, it's the penalties, it's the miscommunications, it's all the errors, the mental errors that are not as this year is kind of unique. It's not even 2021 version. It's unique in that sense. It's completely different. So all of this is compiled and put a ton of pressure on Patrick Mahomes to be everything that he possibly could be. And he's elevating the offense, and they're still struggling. So I don't disagree at all. What do you think?
First, Dr. Durden, I appreciate your handle, and the first rule of this is that we do keep talking about it. And I will say this, Dan, you nailed it. Everyone forgot, and I think even more importantly, Kadarius Toney forgot how he played last year. And when he remembers that, when he feels that again, I think things will change. How they get there, I think this is a function of having a very inexperienced wide receivers coach with a very, very much younger wide receiver room. And I think there's issues there. That said, I do feel like Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes are putting a lot of pressure on themselves as well, and that's leading to some of their mistakes. So as it goes along, if everybody can just take a breath and look in the mirror and remember how Kadarius played, that leaping sideline catch pops into my head. I can't remember who it was against. I don't care, because he can do more than he's doing now. And they're not asking him to, they're not using him enough in enough different ways. I think when that all comes together, it will get straightened out.
Yeah, it's one. I think it was against the Jags where he was adjusting his glove down the right sideline.
Right.
I think it was. He was like, "Yeah, I gotta fix this and go catch the ball." It was confidence. And yeah, you're right. He doesn't have that. He doesn't remember how he played. He doesn't remember the plays that he can make. So hopefully, again, it's going to week 16. I say hopefully in the thinnest of veils, because it's not likely going to happen. Okay. At this point, this is kind of what the Chiefs have become. And until I see differently, I'm going to assume that they're going to have issues and consistently find ways to have to beat themselves. But thank you, Dr. Durden, for your question. And thank you, Justin, for throwing this out there. Twitter X. No, it's just Twitter for me. It's never ever going to be anything else, and I refuse to call it by its I don't even know what you want to call this thing that Elon has done. But with that, appreciate y'all very much for being here tonight. Ryan, thank you for getting us through here, and I appreciate
thanks for helping us finish
letting me take over there.
Very much appreciate all of you. If you're new to us, like, sub, hit the bell, become part of this channel, because we have a lot of fun here and we talk a lot of ball. If you're looking for skits and scripted entertainment, there's a lot of good options on this platform. Go check them out, because we ain't it. But I appreciate you guys, and we're going to continue to deliver for you in that vein. Hopefully the Chiefs give us a happier thing to talk about. Daniel, I hope that you enjoy Mrs. Birthday. I hope that it's a day that she remembers.
We've done lots of celebrating. I made cupcakes yesterday, and we celebrate Wolf Lodge on Saturday. So tomorrow's just, she turns 5, doing the whole measuring thing. And yeah, it's a big, she's been looking forward to it since she turned 4. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Oof. For those of you looking for other content, check out all the websites, NFL 33 in particular. But I have a ton of new whiskey stuff up on RGR Craft. We're going to start in on the food, the wine, all the rest of it. I have tons coming. I'm shooting everything that I can think of. Go check that out and get subbed over there. And I just shot today. There's a new flagship piece of machinery that's going to help us produce these videos and a lot of other stuff. It's going up on the tech channel. If you haven't seen RGR Life Check, it's because I only did one video and I never got back to it. I have a bunch shot for that too. So you're going to see some of that out there as well. So if you just want more of this voice, don't use the visual and you'll enjoy it a little bit better. We have stuff for you. So thank you for your time and your commitment and your support. We appreciate every single super chat. Everyone who threw a question here, including Stevie's that we didn't get to, but Stevie's one of our longtime members, contributor here for a long time as well. I appreciate you, Stevie. And if we tagged CJ, coupled with our first rounder, how high could we expect to get up? Like, if you're just doing everything to go up, how high do you think we could get?
12. I think 12 is about the max with CJ and their first round. Maybe you throw in some other things, but I think 12 to 15 is what you're looking at. I don't think you can get higher than that.
I think you're probably right. And honestly, you'll have to have a deal worked out, a new contract for Chris, an extension with that other team, right? Unless you tag him and then do it. And then that's all on the table. But yeah. Thank you, Stevie. Everybody check out the channel. We have tons coming for you this week. Sets up tomorrow. Have a great evening. We'll talk to you next time.